All right, so let's go ahead and talk about how we can use technology to help us draw scatter plots. Doing this by hand is definitely tedious, and I'm not going to really ask you to do it much, but it's important that you know how to do it. But we'll usually use technology to help us out. So you'll notice in the notes here, we have the step-by-step for how to complete or draw a scatter plot using the graphing calculator. Okay, so if you have the Inspire, you can do it that way. Or I'll show you here now as well how to do it using Microsoft Excel. So it's really pretty simple, straightforward. First thing we should do is make sure we copy the data over into the Excel spreadsheet. Once we have all the data in there copied carefully, making sure everything is correct. Okay, I'm just quickly checking my data points. Looks like everything is correct. Then we can go ahead and draw the scatter plot. It's pretty simple. Once we have the data in there, we just want to highlight the two variables that we're relating, and we can go to Insert, and we have all these lovely types of graphs here. And you can see here is our scatter plot menu. And you could pick a different variety of types of scatter plots. I'm going to go with the most basic here. That's the basic scatter plot that we want to have. And all I have to do is hit enter, and now I've got my scatter plot. Okay, and there's some things we can do to customize it. Of course, we should probably give it a name. We can call it SAT Math versus Reading Scores. A couple of things that I would add to it. They have auto-fit the axes nicely here for us and given us a good scale. You could adjust those if you want to. One thing you can do is if you click on the axis, you can format the axis and you can change the scale. So you can say, I want it to go from 500 up to 570. You can adjust those scales as you want to. And same thing for the vertical axis. So if you wanted it to be the same for both, then you could go ahead and change this so that it starts at 500. So that they both start at 500. But really you can kind of leave it wherever you want. Maybe you want to cut this down to 540 since there's no scores above 540. So you can format your axes as you want to there. The other thing I would encourage you to make sure you have, as we mentioned in the previous video, is to make sure you label your axes. That one's a little less obvious of where to do that, but if you click on your scatter plot and go to this plus sign, then you have some options of things, the elements that you can add to your chart. So if we want to add the axis titles, we'll go ahead and click on that, and then we can go ahead and edit those. Right. So the vertical axis was reading score. Reading score. And then the horizontal axis was math score. And you can do all sorts of fun things to customize the fonts and do different colors and everything else. Change the style of your chart. Right, lots of different options for ways to customize it, make it look nice. But I'm less concerned about that than your ability to make sure you get a good, accurate scatter plot. So let's go ahead and copy this one over into our notes. Okay. Okay, and so there's our scatter plot. Okay, so it's important that you can use some form of technology to get a good, accurate scatter plot. Okay, and that you know how to draw it by hand, although most of the time we'll probably end up using technology, either a graphing calculator or Excel or some other program. Okay, so that's drawing scatter plots.